everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Welcome Back to America. As always, I am DB Frick. We have a lot of show for you tonight. We got a lot of guests that you're going to love. You stay for that. Right now, we got Millie Micheals, as always, with the news. What do you got going down today?
Well, I'm going to talk about the social media challenges that these fun kids are doing. You know how they use the detergent pods, they eat them and choke and go to the ER, or they do skull-cracking games and jumping on desks and all different kind of fun things. Now they're doing Benadryl, and they're going to the ER because they're taking too many of them.
That just makes you tired. That just makes you want to sleep. As a kid, it just made me want to sleep.
Well,
I realize now that we're having this conversation, that's what my parents were doing when I was as a kid.
Yes.
They were giving me Benadryl every night. They're like, it's for your allergies. But really, they just wanted me to go to sleep.
Yes, it helped with babysitting.
Yeah.
But now these other kids are just like abusing it, of course. So what are you going to do?
These days, I use Scotch.
At least, we used to challenge things to ourselves. I would have to go out and get my dad's alimony check from my mom. Now, that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
That's a challenge.
That's a challenge. That's rough.
So, yeah.
Rough.
The second thing I would like to talk about is this little baby, 6 months old, is in the World Book of Records for water skiing.
That's cute.
He's from Utah. He beat out a Florida boy who was 6 months, 27 days old. Who's going to beat that?
I like that world of champion, like the inner fights that those little 6-month-olds would have with each other. That idea would be great. I love that. I think that's hilarious. I also think it's hilarious that 6-month-old has done more with their life in 6 months than I have in 43 years. Could take that to the bank.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to see a 5-month-old water ski next.
Yeah, that's
okay. That should
the obvious next
yes,
thing.
that's the next thing. Okay.
What else do we got going on?
In Saratoga, there was a man who was arrested for carving a 7-foot penis out of a pine tree and placing it, erecting it
This is
on his front lawn. What kind of story is this?
I can't even believe we would have material like that in the show.
You have the penis.
You know what? These are those new writers. We hired those new writers.
You hired the writer, and I'm sick of it. You take care of it yourself. I'm out of here. I hate it.
Wow. Okay. Millie's really angry. I think maybe I should probably get rid of this writer. This guy we hired a few weeks ago, Ernest. Bobby, can you send in Ernest? I think I need to get rid of him, Ernest. Oh, wow, that was quick. You were there, right. Okay, Ernest, great. And you have fishing equipment.
Hola.
As always.
¿Cómo está, Deborah?
All right, Ernest Hemingway. It's DB Frick. You work for, you were hired as a writer for Welcome Back to America with DB Frick.
Whatever.
You're writing a lot of very offensive material over the last few weeks.
I saw the woman out in the hallway. She seems all hot and bothered.
Yeah, she works here.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay. We have kind of noticed that the material's a little aggressive, and we're getting like too many complaints from audience, about the material. And we're just going to have to fire you. I'm really sorry, Ernest Hemingway, but we have to fire you here at Welcome Back to America. I feel terrible. Oh, that's a pun. That's a pun on one of your books.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You know, I won the Nobel Peace Prize for literature.
Did you really?
Yeah.
The Nobel Peace Prize for literature?
Came with $1 million. I don't really need this job.
Oh, $1 million?
Yeah.
Okay, then, go on, write another book.
But you know what, DB, have you ever stared down a bull in the ring of battle?
No, that's not something normal people do.
Have you ever driven an ambulance on a war field?
No, I've never driven an ambulance on a war field.
It shows.
Of course it shows. Look, Mr. Hemingway, I'm just really sorry, but we've got to fire you.
You know what? That's fine. I will, as I said in Paris back in 1918. Au revoir, mange-moi.
You're right.
Or what I said to Fidel the last time I saw him.
Fidel Castro.
See, I said, adios, comeme. Eat me.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
Ernest Hemingway, everybody. I just fired Ernest Hemingway. We got a lot for you coming up on Welcome Back to America. We got Michael J. Sielaff coming up. He's an actor. He lives out in L.A. He's done a lot of commercials. You'll see him, and you'll be like, oh, my God, I recognize that guy. We also have Kevin Bartini, warm-up comic, very funny guy, beloved. We also have Rich Kane, who runs a little company out in LA. He does a lot of reality TV. Very funny guy. He's a producer. We produced a cartoon together with Andy Danish and the National Lampoon last year. This cartoon will show after our interview. So thanks for checking out. Welcome back to America. We'll be right back after this. God, I can't believe that Hemingway.
You're fired.
Yeah, I just fired one of the greatest writers of all time. That wasn't easy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DB Frick. This is Welcome Back to America. Thank you, everyone, for coming back tonight. I have a guest this evening who I've known for about 10 years now, maybe a little more. We lived together back in Hancock Park for a little while. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a comedian, he is a teacher, he's an improviser. The list goes on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael J. Sielaff, one of the funniest guys I know. It's hard not to turn on TV without seeing Mike Sielaff. That's how it is out here in New York. Thanks for joining us tonight. How you doing? How you feeling today?
Thank you. Doing great. Doing great. I'm really enjoying being inside and not interacting with people. It's kind of
yeah, great.
kind of surprisingly a good thing for me.
Yeah, me too. I'm sort of on the same page there. I love the pop art behind you. It's and you know what? It clashes with your shirt in such a way that's so beautiful. So beautiful.
That's right. And this is just so much busy.
God, that's great. I wish I could see that whole thing. Mike, you've been a performer for a while. You were a performer before you came to New York, before you came to LA. And you were from St. Paul, Minnesota, right? You're from Minnesota?
Originally from Fridley, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. But yeah, it's the Twin Cities, so we all love each other.
Yeah, no, it's like one of the nicest cities in the world. They're some of the kindest people. Very different from LA and New York.
Yeah, in fact, my hometown, there's a Friendly Fridley Chevrolet dealership. So Friendly Fridley, that's where I'm from. So hey.
We have a place called Friendly's, which was a restaurant, and they were never that, ever. They were never friendly. Now, one of my favorite things to find out about performers is what got them into performing. What was the first thing that made you want to get into being in front of a crowd or having attention or being an actor?
I think the first thing that really, I'll never forget, like, I always wanted to impress my classmates or make them laugh. So being that class clown, like that was kind of the beginning. And I'll never forget, even like before I was in school, it's probably like kindergarten, where I remember standing like in front of a door that was about to open because a friend of mine in my neighborhood, Kristen, was about to come in. And I was like, I'm just gonna stand there really still. And then when she comes in, I'm gonna lean forward and I'm gonna like pretend I'm gonna fall on her. So that like really weird memory, like that, I've always wanted to make people like entertained in some way, laugh specifically, but a lot of times the humor came out of like, oh, I want people to like me, and people like people that make them laugh. So yeah, so I would do that. And I didn't really get involved with anything performance-wise until senior year of high school because I played sports. So, but that's another performance. Like I get to perform in front of people and impress them or make them happy.
Even sports is that way. Sports is very similar in that way. And what did you play? I didn't know you were into sports.
Yeah, well, I'm 6'7", so you can guess I played ice hockey. No, I'm from Minnesota, love ice hockey, but no, basketball. But I loved it, not even because of my height, just because I loved the game itself. My grandpa played for the Minnesota Gophers in college, and so that was kind of
the greatest name ever in the history of a team, the Minnesota Gophers. That doesn't sound very intimidating. That's not
We'll just
In
annoy
high
you.
school,
We'll be on your ankles until you give up.
in high school, I went to a Catholic high school for 4 years, and I was on the football team, and we used to play a team called Christ the King. So it felt like we're not going to win. You're not going to win unless he lets you win, but he shouldn't let you win.
No. It should be Christ the King versus the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting matchup.
You'd
probably could go viral with something like that.
Right.
Who inspires you? Who, whether it be family or someone, a celebrity or someone you don't know?
Yeah, I usually get most inspired by people I know, but I'll start backwards. So like growing up, like Jim Carrey was the guy that I was like, this guy's amazing because he can do comedy, but then he does drama. Like when I saw The Truman Show, kind of blew me away because I was like, oh man, you're fitting both into one, which then kind of was the roots of my favorite genre, which is dramedy. I love dramedy. I love coming of age stories, which have a lot of those in it. But yeah, so like that would be like celebrity or Leslie Nielsen because I love parody. But more like personal, my dad inspires me. He's always been a great listener, so that inspires me to be a better listener. My mom does because she's very much like, I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. So that's inspiring. And then I've got so many friends, comedian friends, just art friends that I'm just like artistic friends. I'm like, yeah, I love their work. And some of them I don't even remember their names because I had met them once or twice, but I'm like, I love what you're doing. I wish it was like on a big screen somewhere. Yeah, a friend of mine, Alexis Simpson, inspires me. Justin Berkobian, Sam Manuel. These are all like comedians that I've worked with, specifically with improv, and just like how supportive they are on stage in improv and like where their mind goes comedically. I love it. And yeah, so, but it's all in different ways too. Like, yeah, Sam I've known for years and we've done like duo improv together. And so just like we find the same things funny. So that's awesome. And then Justin Berkobian, a good friend of mine, we take a satirical look at what it's like to be a white straight Protestant. So that's funny. And then Alexis, she captures this like weirdness in her comedy that I don't think anyone else can do quite like her. So anyway, those are the kind of people.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that they're people that you meet. A lot of people would like say like Tom Hanks. Where do you?
Or one more. Studs Terkel.
Sure.
Studs Terkel because of his oral history telling, and
That's a name I know. I know that name.
Yeah. He did Working. He wrote the book Working. Well, he didn't write it. He put it together. But he would just ask normal people about their everyday lives, and yeah, he made a whole career about it.
That's the stuff people really want to know. Where do you see yourself in 5 minutes? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And where do you see yourself in 50 years?
I would say I find myself in 5 minutes telling my cat to stop licking himself. I'm so sick of it. So that's 5 minutes. 5 years, I would say I'd probably, hopefully be comfortable in my position, my career of choice, whether that continue with acting, whether it's pursuing teaching more, whether I stay in LA or go back to Minnesota or Seattle, where my brother is. So yeah, hopefully in 5 years, I won't be like, and then 50 years, I hope to have not retired, but I hope to have been, I'm in Minnesota again, and I'm doing some community theater show in my hometown. And people will just be like, man, this guy just needs to stop. And I'll be like, nope.
Nope, not gonna, never. I can't imagine you would ever stop. What are some things that you're working on right now?
Great question. I think, well, one, I run like a improv school, I guess you could call it. It's every Monday night called Rogue Improv, free improv classes. There's no catch. Just building up a community of people who want to, share the joy of improv. But yeah, I'm working on figuring how that can be more self-sustainable. I'm going to make that hopefully a nonprofit within the next year. And
nice.
That I'm working on. I'm also working on finding my own comedic voice through stand-up and through sketches. So I'm working on that, which is kind of an offshoot, a little bit of WASP, my 2-person group I mentioned earlier about taking a satirical look at white straight Protestants. So I'm kind of writing that, but also, you know, I'm writing a lot more. So I hope to discover my voice more in that. Yeah, I have some projects. We Got Issues, which is a socially conscious artivism group, art activism. And so hopefully I can partner up with some people. So these are the steps I'm taking to kind of, you know, hopefully make it bigger than what it is. Yeah.
If people want to see you online or look at your stuff, is there anywhere that they can go?
Yes. Go to Instagram and then find me at Michael J. Sielaff. I'm starting to do comedy and baseball card mashups of comedy. That's how actually you messaged me originally on Junk Wax Junkies.
Oh, right. Yes, I did know it. Yes, I did realize that was you, of course. What's that? What's that all about?
Yeah, that's just like, I love collecting baseball cards. And so like, there's not a lot of humor in the baseball card world. So I was like, well, there is a lot of humor. It's because of the awesome, weird photographs that people have shot in baseball cards. So I like doing that. And then it's like a blend of like, you know, information about the baseball player and a joke about the card of some sort. So that's Junk Wax Junkies.
That's a great idea. So yeah, that's amazing. You could sell that immediately. I would think that would be huge. You need to go on like Shark Tank.
It's a niche market for sure. There's some other people that do it a little better, but I'm happy to be part of a crew that kind of, you know, makes sport card collecting a little bit more, you know, humorous. But yeah, and then Laughtivism. I do Laughtivism stuff, but I just kind of post on that stuff. So Facebook and Instagram, look up Laughtivism, look up We Got Issues on Facebook, look up Michael J. Sielaff, also on Twitter. So
awesome. Loved having you today, Mike. It was really awesome to talk to you again. I look forward to our paths crossing, and Godspeed. Thanks everyone for joining us on Welcome Back to America. We'll be back right after this. Hey everybody, this is DB Frick. We're here at Welcome Back to America once again. Thanks for joining us and tuning in. Tonight we have a very funny man. He's been a warm-up comic for several shows and worked in production and television and whatnot. He works on Bunk and Match Game. He did Match Game with Alec Baldwin a couple of years back, a very popular show. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Bartini.
Hey,
man. Kevin Bartini. Good to have you. Glad you could come down. Glad you could come down to your couch.
What's that?
I said, glad you could come down to your couch for today.
This is, I tell you what, this is one of those nice silver linings of this whole pandemic and everybody being quarantined is being able to do radio and interviews from the comfort of your own couch, from your house. I'm even starting to warm up to doing these stand-up shows. It's a whole different, it used to mess with my timing, not really being able to hear the audience, but that kind of outweighs having to get on a subway at midnight and deal with all that crap to go down to some club. I can literally set a camera up on the side of my bed and perform and be done with it. So it's a nice thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pluses to this. I don't mind having to be home more. I love being able to produce this. I'm in my basement. My bed's
Great.
right over there.
It's great.
It's
It's
not a con.
well, the lifestyle for a comedian it was really easy to adapt to this. It really actually started to feel after like a month of people bitching and complaining about it. I was taking it personal, like my wife was, had a real job. She's a personal trainer and a fitness professional, and she's acting like it's the hardest thing in the world. I'm like, you're just around the house. You're just hanging out. You get up when you get up. You do what you do. It's wonderful. How does nobody hate this? How do you hate it? How does nobody love it?
I'm with you
we're
there.
recording this today at 4:00. I literally had to set my alarm so I would wake up at 3:00 to do this.
That's great. I'm so glad that I'm on a list of people that you'll wake up for. That's great.
Yeah. That's it. That's one of those. You when you're a comedian or a writer, and you work for yourself or whatnot, you think, when have I made it, right? What is making it mean? And to different people, it means different things. And I guess when I first started stand-up, I wanted to, you envision yourself being the next Jerry Seinfeld or having all the TV specials and selling out theaters as making it. And then those things change. And honestly, one of the things I'm proudest of is living my life for 20 years without being a slave to the alarm clock. That's a big one. Just living life on my own terms. I made it. So the only times I set an alarm are when I have to do radio, when I have to do something, and that's a big one for me.
Yeah, we have a lot in common in that realm, definitely. That sort of leads me to my first question. What got you into wanting to be a comedian? What made you want to write and be funny in front of an audience?
Well, it was a couple of things, but I mean, it all goes back to my dad. My father's very funny. My father, I think my father could have been a comedian if he had wanted. Or if he had not been of that small town mentality that he made his own choices, and they've all worked out for him. But he didn't.
Where are you from?
I'm from a town called Lee. It's in the Berkshires in Western Massachusetts. So it's only 2.5 hours from here. But it's the kind of place where, most people seem to marry their high school sweetheart or move into the same mill that their father worked at. It's a Bruce Springsteen song, for sure. And so my dad still to this day prides himself that what I do and that, or him as a dad, that he'll say, if I'd ever said to my parents, I'm picking up and moving to New York City to be a comedian, they would have had me institutionalized. So he was very funny, and I looked up to him, and I respected that. And then by the time I was in kindergarten and first grade, I mean, I was the funniest kid. You pick up right away that you got that gift.
Nice. Oh, we got a little frozen here for a second.
Oh, yeah, okay. I said, so going back to like once I was in grade school, kindergarten, it became obvious that I was the funny kid. That's what I was. I was the funniest one, and then by the time I was 6 or 7, I started watching the original Saturday Night Live, the original cast. Nick at Night used to do 30-minute segments of the shows, and so the first dream was to be on Saturday Night Live, and then shortly thereafter, being a kid of the 80s. Every cable channel was doing stand-up. It was their cheap programming. Before reality television, they didn't have to pay a huge crew. So I was seeing Jerry Seinfeld and Bobby Slayton, and I was seeing, early Louis Black and all these great comedians that I looked up to, Dom Irrera. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So it was really the goal, or since I was 6, 7 years old, it was I want to play for the Yankees kind of thing. And it just came true.
How did you get your first gig doing warm-up? That is a coveted job in the world of stand-up comedians. It's a
Yeah.
very hard gig to get. And once you get it, you can keep on doing that the rest of your life. I actually interviewed Joey Cola last week, who also does it. And he's been doing it a long time. He used to do it for Rosie O'Donnell way back. When was your first time that you did it?
Joey's like the gold standard. He's very, very successful at it.
Yeah.
So I got my start really with The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, which is the real Daily Show. Let's be frank.
No, I was actually friends with Jay Reish. Do you know Jay Reish? You must know Jay Reish.
Jay Reish?
Yeah, he was a writer there for many years. He does Jim Jeffries now. He's the head
Okay.
writer of Jim Jeffries.
Okay. I wasn't that close. Well, the process of being a warm up of the show, you don't interact with the writers too much.
Right.
So, but anyway, I basically, I mean, I've been doing stand up at that point for close to 10 years in the city. And I had, after a couple of years of stand up, had gotten into the Upright Citizens Brigade, just taking my, you know, the basic levels of improv, and the first class, first couple of weeks of improv, those first things that they teach you, work at the top of your intelligence, yes, and you know, those things transformed what I was doing as a stand-up. And I had just worked my way into the clubs, beyond the open mic level, beyond the, you know, the guest spots and stuff, and I was starting to get used as a host. Once I was able to get the improv side of it in, and the crowd work, and I was good at it, then I got to do a lot of hosting, and I became like the house MC at New York Comedy Club for a couple of years, and that was nice. And I was doing road, and I was doing a lot of stuff, and I was meeting and hanging out with comics and be part of the scene. And the Daily Show came calling. Basically, long and short of it was they needed a guy to back up their normal warm-up. So if he had a road gig or if he was sick, they needed a substitute they could call. And they were having trouble finding people, because it turns out when they were asking him for suggestions, he was recommending people he knew couldn't do the job for his own job security. So they went instead. Did we just freeze? You froze up. I can't hear you. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You froze up. Okay. I think the last thing I said was he was hiring guys who were bad for the job, recommending for his own job security, so they wouldn't take his gig. So this time they asked the writers and producers to recommend somebody. And the Daily Show, some of the writers, some of the producers were stand-ups and knew me and thought I'd be a good fit and kind of knew me as a good dude and easy to work with. So I got the call. So I went down and I watched one episode to see how their warm-up did it. Like, okay, I can do this. And I went out the next day and I did an episode. That's how you audition. You know, you can't audition any other way for this gig than to do it. So I did an episode and I killed, and I had the thing that I had decided to do was, my strategy was I needed Jon Stewart because he was the only person who mattered. If he liked me, I was in, and if he didn't matter if all 125 people on the staff voted yes. If he said no, I'm out, right? So I needed him to somehow not only see that I was good at the job, but I knew, but we would get along. We were copacetic. And being a fan of the show, I know he was a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and so am I. So I decided when it came time to bring him out, I gave him this intro the way Bruce Springsteen would intro Clarence Clemens. So you would do this song, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, and then during the song, he'd give an intro to the whole band. And when it got to Clarence Clemens, it was this whole buildup. Do I need to say his name? Do I need to speak his name? And the audience is cheering, coming from the mean streets of New Jersey via Las Vegas, California, blah, 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 blah. And you do this whole thing, and I bring John out, and he comes out, and he walks across the stage, and I go to hand him my mic, and he doesn't ever break eye contact with me. And he just keeps mouthing the words, wow. And that's how I was in. And so once I got that gig, and I stayed with the Daily Show for about 2 years as their backup guy, and then they moved me over to Colbert, because it's all the same, you know. I moved over to Colbert, and then that was kind of it. Like, yeah, once you're in, you're in. And
Right.
when you're in and you've got John and Steven hiring you and using you again, that goes a long way. So then all of a sudden other things, a lot of times what'll happen is a new show like Bunk will come along, and the producers there will just reach out to a contact that they've worked with at another show. So say The Daily Show, and they'll call, and it was Jill Katz. She's now one of the executive producers. They called Jill, and they're like, you know, can you recommend somebody? We need somebody. And I would get a call. And so that's how a lot of those things happen. So at the end of the day, I did about 8 years of warm up, and I ended up doing about 20 different shows. I think I counted, and I always come up with about 20, and then I'll remember another one weirdly every once in a while. But
Wow,
cool.
I really like I like that journey.
Yeah.
We only have like another minute here. I want to ask you another question. If
I'm
you
sorry,
could have
I'm
one.
long-winded. I was figuring you'd edit this down or something. But
No, I want you to talk. I want the interview to be about you, not me.
yeah.
But I want to know what superhero power you would have if you could have any superhero power.
I could have a superhero hero power. I mean, I would like the ability to what's that called on Star Trek when they get into the little thing and then they disappear and they show up to transport.
Teleportation.
Teleport.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to teleport because the hassle of travel has always been a
Transportation can be a miserable thing.
just to get away from the airports, to get away from sitting in traffic. If I could just teleport, I think that would be a nice one.
We have to wrap it up now,
Okay.
but it was nice to have you on today. Where can people go see you if they want to see you, Kevin?
Well, my website is kevinbartini.com. That's kind of the one-stop shop. You can find my albums there, and you can find my Twitter and Instagram handles and everything else. Obviously, I'm not performing live anywhere these days. And
Right.
there's not going to be any live audiences or TV audiences for me to be working in front of for about a year. So I'm doing things like this. You can find me on people's Zoom shows and wherever else people are good enough to have me on.
Well, thanks for being here today, Kevin.
Hey, it's my
You're a
pleasure.
good guy, and you're a great personality to be around. So I appreciate you being here, and I hope we talk again soon.
Dude, anytime. My pleasure.
Writing a book is the adventure of a lifetime. Red Penguin Books take pride in giving our authors a publishing experience that is stress-free and celebratory all the way. Some of our authors first approach us with no more than an idea for a book that's ready to sprout. Others submit completed manuscripts. Whether you're at either end or anywhere in between, our goal is to get you published. At Red Penguin Books, we offer options and opportunities that are unique in the world of publishing, and all of them are designed to keep you, the author we so deeply respect, in the driver's seat, unlike other publishing houses. So, if you want to write a book and are looking for a publisher, we've got you covered. Red Penguin Books deal in publishing services, book development, and ghostwriting for digital, print, and audiobook. Call us at 516-448-4993 or visit our website www.redpenguinbooks.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Welcome Back to America. I am DB Frick. As always, thanks for tuning in. We have a very special guest right here, right now. I've been very lucky to know this guy for a couple of years. He's out in LA. He's a producer. He has a production company he's going to talk about. This is my friend, Rich Kane. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Rich.
Yeah, DB, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Glad to have you. Love the poster in the back. Love the Blade Runner poster. Big fan myself.
It's actually it's signed by everybody except for Jared Leto because he wasn't there that day. And,
wow, you got Harrison Ford on there too, and Ryan Gosling. That's great. That's so cool. Yeah, Harrison. There's not a lot of Harrison Ford signatures out there.
Richard, does anyone call you Richard? Does anyone call you Richard?
Like my mom might call me Richard when she's mad at me, but
She's mad at you. Okay.
going by
So Rich,
time,
what
yeah.
you've been doing, and you've been involved in entertainment for a while. You've been on the reality show scene. You were working on the production of a couple of reality shows over the last few years, and we've produced some stuff together. What was it that got you into entertainment? What made you want to go in that direction?
That's a good question. My dog wants to join the interview right now.
The dog can join the interview, definitely.
So yeah, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was just always creative. I guess the earliest I can go back to is music. So I'm kind of like a jack of all trades when it comes to entertainment, from being a musician to being a producer to creating like whatever, audio engineering. And I guess as a kid, it was just always music. And I just always wanted to do something. And like, I could feel it. I could hear music in my head. Like, to a lot of people, it sounds crazy. Like, oh, you're schizophrenic or whatever. But like, no, it's just, you know, I can hear a song, I can figure out how to play it. And then I started creating stories myself and writing lyrics. And then I used to write, I would never consider myself like a script writer, but I would write treatments. I'm a very like power driven story guy. And
Okay.
I just love movies growing up. I've watched so many TV shows, cartoons, like you name it. It was just like, I don't know. It's just where I found my peace and my bliss, I guess.
Do you recall what your first job in the business was?
Yeah, so I worked in mortgages out of college, and I got let go on like December 29th of 2007.
Wow.
And yeah, and I remember like calling my mom, and I'm in my early 20s, and I'm just like, I can't believe it. Like, my life's over, this and that. And then after I got drunk later on that night, I'm like, fuck the mortgage industry. Like, fuck being a suit. I'm not wearing this shit. Like, I'm going to go do music again. I'm going to do some type of entertainment. And within a year, I found myself working at a radio station at 93.3 WMMR in Philadelphia. And, it was just a great experience. So
You're from Philly, correct?
I'm from Philly. Got my
Great.
on right now, the Phillies.
Oh, very, very, very good. Yeah, I'm actually going to be in Philadelphia tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. What are some of the reality shows that you worked on, and what was your position within those reality shows?
So a lot of the reality shows that I did more audio prep for it. But while I was doing that, I was also producing a TV show, helping create a show about country stars and rock stars racing cars called Rock in the Red Line, and really got like some really big people interested in it. Some of like the top musicians that are out there from country and rock music. But going back to like where I started is because of being a musician, which eventually landed me out here to Los Angeles. I worked also in reality, and I minored in music school for audio engineering. So I was able to, find work while I was pursuing my dreams, pursuing the music. And so I did a lot of the audio prep for some of the biggest shows that are out there, from like the Bun and Murray productions to, what the hell are they called? Something 51 Minds. Yeah, so that's kind of what I did, and then I started actually working on some of the shows. I did some of the car shows, and then my favorite show I worked on was Broken Skull Challenge with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was awesome. You know?
I can imagine that being fun. Are you a fan of?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like growing up, I wouldn't say too much like I'm watching wrestling these days. Oh, did you go out? I don't hear you.
Oh, there you go. We're back.
Now we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like huge Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. Like, loved watching WWF when it was still WWF, and in high school was pretty big into it. And I don't know, everybody did. It was awesome. It was a different type of, I haven't watched wrestling in years, except for I did watch a little bit of it when it came back on, because I thought it was just hilarious how they're in this small like sound stage where you could hear everything echo, but yet they have the microphones out there and they're pointing, and it's just like
It is. It's always been a great spectacle. I've loved wrestling ever since I watched the first wrestling match I ever saw was King Kong Bundy, and it was like the shortest match ever. It was like a 9-second match, and I just fell in love with wrestling then, and kind of watched it for many years. I haven't watched it in a while, but I've tried to get jobs at the WWE. And last night I saw a commercial that mentions WWF, but it's the World Wildlife Foundation. So it was kind of weird to see this commercial, and you kind of imagine all these animals wrestling. It was kind of just a funny, strange thing. That's why the WWF changed their name to WWE, because it was the same as the World Wildlife Foundation. We did that a while ago, yeah. Now you're also you're making some products. You have some products that you have at your house. You're making some PE. You have hand sanitizer and masks that you're making. And what else? Tell me a little bit about what you're working on there.
Yeah. So, you know, like the saying, like when you're least expecting something, or when you're not looking for it, like you're not looking for your soulmate, you're not looking for a job, something just lands in. Well, that's kind of what happened here. For the past few years, I switched from music and reality, and I've really been, focusing on producing movies with known cast, and have a television show I created that's going to be like Stranger Things meets like The Ring. Like it's just not, it's not like a normal like type of thing that's going on. It's not really sci-fi. It is sci-fi, but it's not dealing with aliens. We'll just say that.
Okay.
Anyway, I was crushed. I was supposed to sign a development deal on St. Patrick's Day. I was going to go drink 35 Guinnesses and 12 Jameson shots that night, and then it's just like, nope, COVID hit, right? So my neighbor's also a very successful director, filmmaker, producer, and he asked me to come over to his house one night, and he actually threw a mask in my hand as soon as I walked in the door, and he's like, I found a new business for us. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, my buddy is like one of the largest garment, factory in Vietnam to supply Costco and Target and Walmart. And he basically he stopped, none of those stores were buying clothes anymore, none of that, and flipped it to the mask and asked for help. And the next thing you know, we went from masks to hand sanitizer to gloves to N95 masks, you just name it, anything. Hand wipes, that's the hardest thing to get right now. I can get them. So tell all your listeners if they want hand contact.
I can see you where you have a jacket on and you open the jacket and you're like, I got hand wipes. Sell them on the street.
That would be awesome.
Can you show us some of those?
Yeah, for sure. Out here in LA, it's funny that you said that. Just street corners and kids that normally are selling candy or whatever, they're slinging masks. And
that's funny.
Home. And so I'm just so we work more business to business. We are launching our line. Our mask is called Vizard, Vizard, which it means the mask army. I came up with the name, so it was just it fit. We have a really cool logo that can go. But yeah, so our masks, let's see, we have a bunch of different kinds. So this is a camouflage, full print one.
Yeah, I like that. The Russian camouflage. Love Russian camouflage.
Actually, our mask is registered with the FDA, and it's passed rigorous testing. That our filter model, which this one has a filter inside it. There's a little, sorry, I didn't see. There's a little here. The filter model is actually 85% efficient at blocking harmful particles, passing through. And the reason why they call it an N95 mask is because it's 95%. So our masks, triple air, water resistant. They're extremely comfortable. We have these toggles that you can easily adjust the length of it, and then we put these little rings on them so they don't fall off. And we have a nose clip. We're actually working on a new nose clip, but it fits to your face, man, and it's comfortable. You can tell that I can talk to you, can hear me right now. And
yeah, it doesn't change the sound of your voice at all. Yeah.
It doesn't itch at all. When this first happened, the first few weeks, my family was sending me masks, and I go to the store and I could not breathe. I hated it, man. I was just I can't breathe in this stuff. So yeah, we're doing really well with them, man. We even have,
I love it.
Any type of design that you can think of. This is actually the new thing that we do. We have a case for it. But after COVID, The mask, you could use this as a sunglass case. It fits a pair of sunglasses in it. So
I like it.
yeah, that's the mask. And then our hand sanitizer, we partner with a company called Hygienize out here in Los Angeles. We have a factory in LA and in Las Vegas. And this hand sanitizer, so we have normal scent smell, and then this is the orange blossom. But the cool thing about this hand sanitizer is a lot of the stuff that's out there smells like tequila. It smells like vomit. It's very sticky. It's just got a horrible smell. This stuff doesn't. And we just put a new chemical into this, which is completely safe when I say chemical, but this is like the top of the line stuff. I'm selling this to some of the biggest, corporations that are out there right now. So.
And if people want to see this, they can go to Vizard. If they Google Vizard, they'll find.
Yeah, so our website's going to be vizardwear.com, but
Okay.
so you can wear masks there, and then like our hand sanitizer, we're actually partnering up with them on something special that people are going to see. So I'm excited. But yeah, people want to check it out, go head on over to vizardwear.com. We also have a company, our PPE supply company is what everybody calls PPE because it stands for protective personal equipment or protective equipment, whatever. You have that is prgltd.com. So, but
That's great.
yeah.
So if you guys, those of you people at home, want to check that out, definitely go to those sites. One of the other things that Rich and I did a couple of years ago was we worked on a cartoon with a friend of ours, Andy Danish, who I worked with at the National Lampoon with Tony Hendra for a few years. And a couple of years ago, Rich and I and Andy did this cartoon that we're going to show right after our interview. But this cartoon, how did this cartoon come about?
Yeah, it's such a funny story, man. So my car's dealership salesman, who became a friend of mine, I bought 2 cars from him. Like one I bought from another dealership, and then I went in to trade that car a few years later, and he was at this dealership. As soon as I walked in, he was like, "So Richie, what's up, buddy? Like, how's the car treating you?" And I said, "Oh, I actually want to get a new car." And so then started asking me about like how the career is going and like the music. And I said, "Well, I'm actually producing now." And he said, "Well, really, I got this cartoon I've been designing." And basically he created this cartoon about himself, Mr. King, who sells cars. He considers himself Mr. King. Is pretty funny. He wears like a robe. He's got his like cape, and he's got his what is it called? The staff or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that. So he basically, wanted to market his to bring in more customers into the dealership. And he works for a major dealership, but this was his marketing arm to bring in more customers. And then I saw the cartoon. There's no audio to it except for the music. There's no voice. There's no backstory. It's basically just about this guy, Mr. King, who helps save the day from Dr. Bad Deal. And Dr. Bad Deal is a guy that sells you lemons, or he sells, a car that has an issue to, rips you off. And so Mr. King comes in and saves the day. And he's like, "Do you think I have something here?" I said, "Yeah, you do. I need to sit on it for a little bit, and I got to come up with this backstory." So
Well,
that's what.
It's an awesome little piece, and we're going to play it right now. Rich, thanks for coming down today. If there's anywhere else you'd like to plug, any other website or anything, take the opportunity now.
Yeah, you can check out our, obviously because a lot of our stuff are films and everything's confidential, but we do have a website. It's www.cosmiclake.com. That's the name of my production company. So that's
Awesome.
where you can check out some of our stuff. Very soon we'll have more stuff added to it. And then once we get out of this whole COVID situation, then productions will start, because nothing's shooting right now, like unless you're going overseas. But even that, like they start shooting, they get shut down. Somebody comes down with COVID, so
It's mostly commercials. Mostly commercials are being shot now.
commercials and like infomercials.
Thank you so much for coming down today, Rich. This was a great conversation. I wish we had more time to chat. But if you want to check out Rich Kane, check him out. And we'll be right back with Welcome Back to America. Check out the cartoon. It's coming up right now.
Awesome. Thanks, TV. See you, brother. Have a good one.
lion cubs, my arch nemesis. Such cruel animals, the baby lion cub. Another one for my pet collection. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him a trapper. I think that's how that cliche goes. I'm Baron von Trapper of the Dusseldorf von Trappers, and no one can stop me. There is no escaping.
Checkmate, robot. Silly mistake on your part.
Does Steve really think I don't let him win?
King, it looks like we have some issues in Africa. Now that tickled. Stop that. I'm sorry, General? Getting myself a pedicure. It's been almost a fortnight since my last one. Back to the point. Some crazy hunter named Baron von Trapper is trying to get in the Guinness Book of World Records for largest pelt collection. We're gonna need you to head to Africa forthwith.
Baron von Trapper? I remember that name well.
What's this? A lone baby cub?
Mr. King, finally a chance to kill all my birds with the one leading to water. I'm Baron von Trapper, and trappers never lose. That's what Daddy always said. Or was it, never try too hard, you'll hurt yourself? No matter.
I think you got your cliches mixed up. You smuggled your last pelt, Pelty von Pelt Stealer.
It is I who shall have the laugh last. You stupid, King?
Last laugh. Get your cliches straight.
Now I win, cause you are going to die. Now that sounds evil. Now I'll get into the Guinness Book of World Records for killing the most kings. Is that too many hearts? Oh well. You may have won the battle, but you will not win the battle. Next time, I'm Baron von Trapper, the trappingest of all trappers.
Don't worry, little lion cub. We're going to be fine. Do you have a name, little one? Well, I'm gonna name you Freefall. Freefall, don't worry. You're going to be fine. Another slick performance, might I add. I've got some bad news, King. Looks like Dr. Bad has escaped prison. Dr. Bad, I'm coming to get you.
Me llaman Dan Pablo y hace más de 20 años me enamoré de una colombiana. Viajé a su país y conocí un estilo de café muy distinto, muy especial. Ahora tostamos cafés excelentes, con alturas y microclimas diferentes, resultado en una taza muy compleja y muy rica, un sabor nuevo en el mundo. Fue un éxito. And I even got to keep the girl.
Baby lion cubs, my arch nemesis. Such cruel animals, the baby lion cub. Another one for my pet collection. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him a trapper. I think that's how that cliche goes. I'm Baron von Trapper of the Dusseldorf von Trappers, and no one can stop me. There is no escaping.
Checkmate, robot. Silly mistake on your part.
Does Steve really think I don't let him win?
King, it looks like we have some issues in Africa. Now that tickled. Stop that.
I'm sorry, General?
Getting myself a pedicure. It's been almost a fortnight since my last one. Back to the point. Some crazed hunter named Baron von Trapper is trying to get in the Guinness Book of World Records for largest pelt collection. We're gonna need you to head to Africa forthwith.
Baron von Trapper? I remember that name well.
What's this? A lone baby cub?
Mr. King, finally a chance to kill all my birds with the one leading to water. I'm Baron von Trapper, and trappers never lose. That's what Daddy always said. Or was it, never try too hard, you'll hurt yourself? No matter.
I think you got your cliches mixed up. You smuggled your last pelt, Pelty von Pelt Stealer.
It is I who shall have the laugh last. You stupid, King?
Last laugh. Get your cliches straight.
Now I win because you are going to die. Now that sounds evil. Now I'll get into the Guinness Book of World Records for killing the most kings. Is that too many hearts? Oh well. You may have won the battle, but you will not win the battle. Next time, I'm Baron von Trapper, the trappingest of all trappers.
Don't worry, little lion cub. We're going to be fine. Do you have a name, little one? Well, I'm gonna name you Freefall. Freefall, don't worry. You're going to be fine. Another slick performance, might I add.
I've got some bad news, King. Looks like Dr. Bad has escaped prison.
Dr. Bad, I'm coming to get you.